Hello, and thank you for watching this video. So recently, about a week ago, YouTuber Armoured Skeptic did a chat with Garrett, and his girlfriend Shuan Head was there, and so was Demotivator Opinion on Garrett's side. And I was impressed with Armoured Skeptic and the way he presented himself, and the fact that he did a great job of just listening and learning from people who he normally disagrees with. You know, Garrett's an interesting guy. I really like him in a lot of ways. He's an unapologetic social justice advocate. He's a guy who wants to make the world a better place. And he'll stand up for things that are unpopular, like he'll talk about how there is rape culture. You know, a lot of the things Donald Trump has done recently have proven that, you know, there are little pockets of rape culture. I thought that, you know, people who talked about rape culture said that we live in a rape culture. Well, Garrett says that, you know, there are rape cultures here and there. And NAMBLA's a good example of that. They're a great example of rape culture. You know, they teach people how to rape children. And, you know, Garrett will even defend things like safe spaces. He says that safe spaces, or trigger warnings rather. He'll say that trigger warnings are for people with PTSD. But, you know, Armoured Skeptic did a great job of going and talking to Garrett and listening and considering, you know, viewpoints that may challenge his own. And specifically, a couple things he said about feminism and Black Lives Matter really showed me that he's a guy who's willing to debate things honestly and openly, and that he has a very open-minded person. So he's a very open-minded person. So I would play a clip and discuss this.
Yeah, what we're seeing is a surgence of new channels too, and I fucking hate them. They're literally like feminist cringe compilation channels, feminist ponage channels, and they're like the Soflo Antonio like montage things where they just compile all the worst examples of everything for entertainment purposes. And so like anti-feminism has become mainstream to the point where there are just as many people who are anti-feminist because it's fun to be, as it is there are feminists who are feminists because they think that that's what they have to be. And but the problem with the big as soon as it started happening, Chris Ray Gun actually pointed out when H3H3 made a video about feminism. He's like, it's cool, I guess, that it's becoming more mainstream, but I kind of liked it when it was more our thing. And I think that it's kind of a bad thing that it's becoming mainstream because it's detracting from the real issues in the conversation. It's painting feminism as worse than it really is, which doesn't help either of us. But it's also painting anti-feminism as worse than it really is, which doesn't help either of us. And it's oversimplifying all the problems. Everybody who's learning about these problems for the first time through H3H3 doesn't understand the real issues. They just see, here's a stupid feminist being a terrible person. Look at them get pwned. That's their entire interaction with feminism now. That's the mainstream understanding of feminism now.
I've seen them channels. It's channels called like Feminist Compilation Fails, and you know, I have criticisms of feminism, and there are things about feminism I like. And you know, unfortunately, these channels, they drag the debate down to a low level. It's the lowest common denominator. You know, and a lot of them, you don't even know if these women are feminists. It's just women acting badly, you know, and they call them feminists. It's like the SJW compilation failure. Like the people in that, they don't even call themselves social justice warriors. But, you know, whoever made that video called them social justice warriors. So they must be social justice warriors. And another clip, another thing that Armoured Skeptic said had me interested too.
It's the ideological feminism that it bullies you into taking the title, or essentially admitting that you're a gender traitor if you're a woman, or a misogynist if you're a man. And the ideological feminism is just as much a detriment to feminism as a whole as pop feminism, because it essentially paints the entirety of feminism. Then they're doing this themselves. It paints feminism as a bully movement who's trying to strong-headed bulldoze its way through society.
I found that to be very insightful, the way he talked about feminism being, there being a pop feminism, an academic feminism, and different forms of feminism. And, I remember when I was in college, my student advisor was my sociology teacher as well, and I took a sociology and gender class, and it was really good. I really didn't hear much about intersectional feminism or anything about all white people being racist or, a lot of these stereotypes about feminists. It was a really good class, and I learned a lot about feminism, but I didn't come away with the impression that it was like some totalitarian, wicked, mean thing. The same way that internet feminism can be, that I hear stories of. I hear some bad stories about feminism here and there. And sometimes I'm afraid that if I don't identify as feminist, that people will reject me from certain groups and things like that. And I don't really identify as either feminist or anti-feminist, even though, I like a lot of feminism. And so, what he was saying here was that, even further in the video, he was talking about how academics have this specialized language. Like, they say things like oppression, and they don't necessarily mean like whips and chains oppression, but they mean discrimination. And sometimes that language of academia doesn't translate well into, popular consciousness and things like that, and everyday discussions in internet feminism. And so to close with, I'm going to play one more clip where they're talking about the race problems in the United States.
Oh, don't even get me started on the fucking education system in the United States. You go to rich neighborhoods and the schools are better. The students have like cleaner, better uniforms. They have bigger play fields. Like you can tell that the overall education at schools in rich neighborhoods is good. And then you find a poor neighborhood, and for some reason, those poor neighborhoods, the schools are funded less. They have smaller play areas, smaller play fields. They have shittier uniforms. You can just tell from the look of the building that the quality of the education, I know, don't judge a book by its cover, but you can tell the quality of the education that they're getting is fucked. But with both the education system and the police force, like in Canada, it's not really like that. I'm sure there's corrupt police here in Canada as well, but
this was a very interesting discussion with him and Garrett. The race problem here in the United States is ugly, and it's so sad that we don't have equality of opportunity, that these black schools are underfunded, and I try to support politicians who will distribute the money for school districts more equitably and fund these inner city schools. And they talked about, structural racism and stuff like that. And unfortunately, what I want to tell these guys is if we really want to, work on income disparity between races of people, we also need to stop locking up so many people. We need to stop spending so much on war and prisons and spend more on education. Help people out. Give people business loans, help them start businesses, things like that. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I was really impressed with Armoured Skeptic. The fact that he listened to Garrett and he just seemed to learn a lot, and Garrett came across as a little bit pushy at times. But at the same time, Garrett was just standing up for what he believed. And there are other parts of the video that I could nitpick on, but overall it was really good. And, I'm normally a critic of guys like Armoured Skeptic and Sargon, but like I said, I was just very impressed with Armoured Skeptic. I can't see Sargon doing something like this. He's too thick-headed. He's too dumb and dull-witted. And he wouldn't sit down and actually learn from other people. He would be talking all the time, trying to sound smarter than, better than. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm coming up here on 200 subscribers. Yeah, I don't really care about being a really big channel or being really popular. I'm just happy I have so many subscribers as it is. And I really appreciate the fact that you watched this. Have a good day.